I sincerely try and give my perspective and my experience from my life as I've lived it. And it wasn't just that one, Jr. It was one, but it was one earlier. But my point being is that I hope these young bloods do take something out of what we're saying. And I appreciate the clarity, Tony, because sometimes maybe we're in our own world up here. It was 12:15 a.m. Jr. Um, but sometimes we up here and maybe the message may not be landing or whatever. So if that's the case, I certainly hope that I certainly hope that we're not coming across as that we don't understand or we don't know what's going on out here in these streets. I know because I have three boys, so I'm on record: three boys, three girls. And when I say this, I become the anomaly, but it is what it is. So of my three boys, three girls, one of my sons are married, one of my daughters are married. Two my other two children, my other son and my other daughter is engaged, and then the other two are too young to even be thinking about that stuff right now, right? So I understand the market that's out there. So I'm not saying that we can't identify with what y'all are dealing with, or we know that we think it's all good and da 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 da. That's not what we saying. Me personally, for the women, I know that there are good women out there, and I personally prefer y'all focus on finding them as opposed to spending an inordinate amount of time talking about focusing on lambasting over the women who don't even qualify to be under your covering. So appreciate that insight, brother Tony. Thank you, man.
Yeah, and if I can piggyback off of that too, and really, I can only assume with you having those your children essentially being successful thus far in life, you had a high expectation for them. The fact that he said that it was he made it seem as if it's a bad thing to have a high expectation for our younger generation, for me, is mind blowing. Yes, when you're young, when I was young, of course, I made terrible decisions, of course. But you make that bed, you lay in it. At the same time, I understood and didn't cross certain boundaries because I knew that certain people that I looked up to had high expectations for me. So if we don't set the standard of what those expectations should be for an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old, so on and so forth, then what the fuck are we here for? It's up to us to set those standards for the next generation to come so that they can build off of that and essentially become and continue on a greater progression in our culture and society. So I don't get it. Literally,
Yeah,
if you want to act like a child, then by all means you can continue to do such. But
Yeah. I mean, Tony, if you want to come up, uh, just speak your piece, you can, man. I mean, maybe it's just a misunderstanding, or I mean, I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, I
that,
just know what we do this for, and I just want to be mindful and always making sure that the message is landing. So
yeah,
I know the brothers that are up here that commit to Tuesday. Y'all know Tuesday my favorite day of the week. Um, I just want to be mindful that the message well, it may not resonate with everybody, but that it's at least landing, and we not coming off like we sitting on some high perch. I don't think any of us are trying to do
yeah.
that. We just really sharing our experiences.
Go ahead,
You
Trey.
know.
Are you trying to say something?
Yeah. So, I mean, my whole reason that I do content just as a whole is because I want and any of my content that anybody observes is what it does, at least in my opinion, is to offer perspective. And I understand. I listen to people. I talk to a lot of the youth, people in their 20s, younger sometimes, if they need some type of advice. I wish that I do what I wish I had available to me. And not to say that I I was ill advised but I was not ill prepared because I wasn't ready for what was out here, and that's real. And I feel like a lot of other people are there too, and I feel like you'll get a better head start on life if you get some of these lessons early. We've talked about so many different things, whether it be finances, whether it be we beat relationships to hell. We talked about politics, just different perspectives, right, and how we feel about things. And fortunately, we're able to kind of offer different perspectives, right? And I don't think anybody's up here that says anything that's like ridiculous, to whereas you just can't get anything out of it. So I always encourage people to not just take our word for it. You listen to us for perspective, and I would say you definitely want to dig in, get your own data, do your own research, be diligent about it. If it's something that you care about, if we're talking about something that you are interested in, then you have to do your due diligence and you need to get out there. We'll absolutely point you in the right direction. And like I said, I answer DMs all the time. Anybody having an issue, and I'm sure most of the gentlemen on the panel feel the same. We will help you if you ask us. Like we're here for that. If you feel like you can get something, we can offer you some type of value from something that we already got game on. I'm all for it. I will never shun anybody away. I might say, all right, well, I might have to schedule it or be like, yo, I'll get you Wednesday or whatever. But it is what it is. I'm definitely for it. Like that's why we here, man. We have to. This is an opportunity that we didn't have, and I bet you if this existed when we were younger, we would probably be in different positions right now. There's so much knowledge that actually comes through here, and a lot of our individual content. Because we study this stuff, we into it, and we've been on the earth long enough to have learned from it. We learned a lot of hard lessons, and we hope to learn a lot of these hard lessons for you not to, for you the viewers to not have to. So your experiences will be easier. So your life will be easier. I would definitely say there's a wealth of knowledge on this panel, and some of us have our own expertise, but everybody on here has some knowledge, and they're very knowledgeable about something. I guarantee you there's nobody on this panel who you couldn't get some game from. Or everybody on this panel got some type of G that is valuable to younger folks and even older people. So again, something that you're interested in, you have to put the work in. But like I said, most of us are willing to be helpful.
Like you wanted to say something, White? Good.
Yeah, no, I wish Tony would have came up so we could ask him questions about what may have come off like that, so we can examine the message and make sure we don't hit whatever. So we answer clearly whatever question he had. So I think the two things that I heard was statutory rape for a woman is different than for a man. So for clarity, the advice was once you hit 18, find out that everybody you're messing with is above 18, and that's universal for men and women. So hopefully that answered your question, Tony. And the other one was about boundaries. I understand it seems like a really hard thing to do, to say no, but the worst thing somebody can do is not mess with you anymore. And if they stop messing with you because you say no, that's not somebody you need in your life anyway. So you're doing yourself a favor. It seems like a hard thing to do when you're on one side and you looking at the woman. She might be gorgeous, she might be horny, and it's hard for you to say no when you're horny. Go in the bathroom, jag off, then come out the bathroom and tell her no. You need to remove the ability for your sexual appetite to control how you respond with women. And if you have to do something like that, then you do that. But whatever you do, don't allow yourself to be led sexually into paths that you don't want to go. That's how you end up getting set up, robbed, child support, divorced, all type of extra scenarios you could have avoided if you had got post-nut clarity. Hopefully that answered it.
Wizzle, sound like you advocate for de-discipline, man.
I'm advocating for not having a conversation while you horny. Like I advocate for don't go to the grocery store while you hungry. Go ahead and eat, then go grocery shopping. If you don't have go ahead and get it off before you go on a date. because you don't want to be doing nothing thirsty. It just, you make bad decisions. It's like making decisions under duress. You're gonna make a bad decision when you rushed. It is what it is. Sometimes you need a chance to sit back and think. What I tend to do, it may come off why I seem like void of a lot of the emotional responses. I try and interpret things and everything I hear, put it in a box, and then from that box filter that out as to what's reasonable to say. So if something you saying to me would piss me off and I want to go with this as my retort, I'm gonna filter it through the box and say, okay, it's not beneficial. Is my end goal to fight with this person or not fight with this person? If it's not to fight with them, then, you know, and I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but that's what I attempt to do when I have conversations when I'm trying to build with people or get to know them. It's not the desire to fight and be contentious. Yeah.
At the end of the day, as men, we should be gauging our decisions off of what comes with it. This decision that I make, what is the possibilities that will come from it, and how am I willing to hold myself accountable to it? Trev, to what you were saying earlier, even though we didn't have the internet, especially how it is now, I'm quite sure still that you had some type of male influence around that told you, hey, don't do X, Y, and Z. And in many cases, I'm sure that we all can agree up here as men that we still went and did X, Y, and Z because we wanted to experience it for ourselves, right? So that's a part.
for sure.
That's a part. Go ahead.
The only thing that's very different about this is you get hella context. It's not just saying do this. You get in so many different perspectives and context, because that's one of the main reasons why we don't do what we're told, is because we might feel like they don't know what they're talking about. They don't have the experience, or maybe they're not.
That's fair.
They don't represent what it is that we want to be, type deal. So there's so many different perspectives. Somebody's going to be relatable to you, and you got you have a wealth of knowledge versus listening to one OG. That one OG might be able to help you, but you might not trust what he say, or maybe he's not in a position to tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Like if a dude, he don't ever get no chicks, and he try to tell me how to get females, I'm like, you know, I don't know. Or you broke and you telling me how to get my finances together. I'm like, no, let me try this route.
So now that's all fair. Now, me personally, I've always lived by you learn life from the living. Me growing up where I grew up, there were things that I learned from crackheads. You know what I'm saying? Like where they dropped gems on me, and it was like, okay, this makes sense. So even if a person that may be broke or they don't have no girls or whatever, if they plant this seed on me, and it's like, okay, a situation arises where I can remember them saying this, and in that moment is my decision to make if I'm going to either do A or B. You know, so I get it, but we still can learn something from it. One must seek knowledge, and if you're not seeking it, then there's no growth there. You know,
I remember a crackhead told me, one rock is too many and a million is never enough. I thought that was so profound when he said that. I was sitting there like, I get it.
I went by saying
is never enough.
I went by saying like this. I learned from watching what Johnny Don't did, and I listened to Johnny Do, if that makes any sense. Whereas the people who you see failing in life, you watch what they're doing, but I'm not taking what you have to say as serious as somebody who position that I would like to be in.
No,
you can certainly learn from failures.
Y'all trying to bring these pimp talk in. Y'all know Chicago really is the resident pimp talker. Y'all stop with all these Johnny do, and I watch what Johnny don't
And
did,
Johnny
and
do and
one
Johnny
rock,
did
one
when
rock
Johnny
is
didn't
not
do
a
what Johnny
million
did with
rocks.
Johnny and Johnny
And
couldn't
it's
do it.
one rock
So I
is a
showed
million
y'all
rocks.
Y'all know
niggas
my
that
second.
one rock and
Leave that to Rilla.
two rocks and a few
Rilla
made
said,
a rock.
Y'all know
we get it.
I'm fluent in jive, right? Y'all didn't know that?
I just saw that meme.
Oh
I saw
man.
that meme the other day with the white lady.
Hey, I just watched that shit the other
I
night
saw that
too.
shit the other night.
What, airplane?
Airplane, hilarious.
Classic.
Shannon, you know what the meaning I took from that was? That sometimes you already have everything you need, and as you get more, you'll never have enough.
I want to know if he smoked that
One
crack
rock
rock.
too many.
He definitely smoked it. I seen him go smoke it like as soon as he left. He went over there and smoked. We were sitting on the porch. He got served and went and smoked that rock.
But you know he's gonna sit on it, man. That shit gone.
Listen, man, there's a crackhead somewhere that's a millionaire. There's a homeless dude on Skid Row right now. Got it sitting on $1 million. You know, can't judge a book by its cover.
Or they had $1 million at one point. You know what I'm saying, and lost it all.